Guys, ignore that sound. Sam is enjoying a treat. And so if you hear sound, Sam's in the room enjoying a treat. Make sure you like, subscribe, turn on the post notifications. For today's video, I thought it would be really fun to share, in my opinion, what is some of the best tips for training to be a pop star or a dancer or whatever. And these are like tips that have helped me or Abby had talked to us about because they can kind of help you out a little bit. The first tip, this is honestly the one that like is the most like important out of all of them, which is if you are like planning to spend money on like dance class or something, this is the one that you need, which is find somewhere where you are getting good training, and that they know what they're talking about, like that situation, because, and this like, whether it's like a studio or I would recommend Worldwide Zoom, it's like, I would recommend it if you don't mind like the not competing part and you just want the training part, like, but that's important because and I say this because of the fact that there are places out there, what I mean is like sometimes I'll watch YouTube videos and they'll use like their own words or something and for like a certain acro trick. And they'll come up with some random word that I like never heard of on like a certain acro trick. And then Abby will have it do like the same trick or like the same trick. I never, I haven't had the problem yet because I'm very beginner with acro. Oh, and then like everyone does the one trick. Like Abby just like find somewhere that knows what they're talking, because there are like and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but like you want good training. Like that's what I'm saying. Like you don't want like to waste your money and then like not really get anywhere. And good training, like another thing that you should look for, and this is I actually didn't know this was a thing until like we were doing like a Zoom class one day, and this like mother like said something because Abby like got like said something to this one like younger looking girl that like said something about how like one side her split was like really good, and then the other side her like split wasn't like as good as like one side split was like really really good and the other side was like nowhere near as good, but like not completely terrible. And her mother literally said, and that at their studio, they only make them do one side and not both, and that they are looking for a new studio. So like, make sure that you do both sides. Make sure that when you go to a studio, ask them about this sort of stuff. Like, I prefer you like sign up and stuff. Like, ask them like, hey, like when you like first up, ask them if they're a well-rounded studio, because I feel like if they're not a well-rounded studio, then you're gonna be a little more limited on what like your future has when it comes to dance, because some studios are like only hip hop and some studios are like only ballet or like only a certain style, and then there's some that do it all, and that's a well-rounded studio. And even if you're not the biggest fan of some styles, like try to do them anyways. It will help you out, and stuff. But like there's that then, and the other thing that you should definitely ask them is ask them, like, if they do, like, warm up and stretch, like, do they make you do it on both sides? Because that is an important question, because if you don't do both sides, actually multiple things. Number one, Gianna told us about, which is if you don't do both sides, then sometimes you'll, like, walk really weird because of it, because one side, like, it can, like, affect, like, your walking sometimes, like, just really weird. But also the main thing is that one side can be really, really good, and the other side is not going to be that good. Or, like, you don't even know it on the other side. Look for things like that. Another tip that I would say has definitely, this one is, like, a very obvious one, but it's very important, which is if you ever do any form of improv, do not, like Abby has talked to us about this, do not improv what you think goes with the music. Improving is not about that. It's about showing what you do best. What is your best skill? And now you don't, like, one thing I'll say is that with improving, you kind of want to switch it up every once in a while. So, like, maybe one time you do, like a specific type of jump, a specific type of turn, maybe a side tilt, maybe a front tilt, down into a straddle, and then, like, a specific type of turn. And then the next time you do something completely different. Like it's all about, like, you don't always want to do the same old, same old. You want to switch it up, but only do what you're good at. And you aren't and you struggle with it, do not do it. Because improving is your chance to make you look good and show off what you know how to do. So, like, there is that. Then another tip that I would say is be ready for anything. Like, that's a big tip. It's like, be ready for anything. And something right now, I kind of don't understand the new schedule that I have for dance. And I'm like, I just don't understand it right now. Like, I'm trying to figure it out, and none of it is making any sense to me. And, like, they took out Monday, and now I'm like, no, I loved Monday. Like, that was like, I'm figuring things out still. And then, like, our new schedule, I don't understand you. But also, it's the sort of thing that I'll, like, eventually get used to. Hey, Sam. Yes, you can lay on the mat. Like, I don't understand it. Like, I start with ballet on Tuesday, and then it goes into, like, some form of hip hop, and I don't know if it's beginner or advanced, which is kind of a problem, because if it's, like, because if it's beginner, then I kind of don't want to do it, and, like, I'll do, like, the advanced one. And then it goes into, like, acro and tumbling, or, like, gymnastics and tumbling, or, like, I have no clue. Like, our schedule is just random, and I'm figuring it out. And, like, the only thing that, like, is making any form of sense to me is, like, our Wednesday schedule, and that just seems to be, like, the same that it was. But I'll, like, figure that out. But the biggest tip that I would say is be ready for anything. Because, like, I never know going into dance. Like, and what I mean by that is Abby, like, messed with us a little bit. Like, she pulled a little surprise. It was actually a fun surprise. And it actually, like, made one of my biggest dreams come true. Because I never thought it would happen. And it was something that I really just needed, and it worked out for me. And now Sam is on the bed. Hey, Sam. Hey, Sam. Lay down. Lay down, baby. Good boy. Which is that, like, she, like, surprised her with an audition and I was completely unprepared. And then she was like, so that's why I say be prepared for anything. Because you may think you're just doing, like, like, for an example, like, a Sunday class. I don't know if you have dance on Sunday or not. I'm using it as an example. And then all of a sudden you, like, find out, oh, you have an audition for a scholarship to get a free Sunday. So, like, just be prepared is what I'm saying. And another tip that I would say, this one is be prepared for the long hours. Because on the fact that, like, I didn't understand going into this. You have long hours. You have days that are, like, not that long. Like, like, an hour, maybe 2 hours. And then you have days that are, like, extremely long and go anywhere between 4 to 5 hours, sometimes more, sometimes less. Like, so, like, it's a situation where you gotta be prepared for the long hours. Like, another thing is you gotta figure out ways so you can make it through the long hours and still keep your energy up throughout all of it. And I think that because I, like, struggled with this at one point where, and when we first did our first, like, Monday class with Abby, I was extremely tired. Like, I literally had to, on the spot, think in my head how, like, we literally got through her acro class, which is 45 minutes. Although I'm pretty sure that day she went 46. She, like, gave us an extra minute. And, like, but, like, I literally, like, got through that no problem. We got to her warm-up. And I'm, like, I physically, like, I started struggling, like, because her warm-up and stretch is tiring. It's extremely tiring and a lot. It's extremely tiring and a lot. And I, like, had to think on the spot, like, I think on the spot about how I could make it through and still have that same energy beginning to end. So, like, that's kind of a big thing. And then luckily I made it work. Then another tip that I would say that kind of relates towards the long hours and, like, it kind of helps you with those longer hours, which is think of something or someone that motivates you. It's a good way to, like, think of it. And what I mean by that is literally every time I dance now, I do a couple of things. First thing is I have an autograph poster from the squad that I literally lay it out. Like, I lay it out where I can see it and look at it the entire time I'm in dance, although I do have to switch sides, so for, like, a little bit of time I, like, don't get to see it. But it's, like, one way that I, like, stare at it, and it, like, keeps me motivated, it keeps me going. And I also think of my crush. Like that, I always, like, think of my crush because I literally know that, like, he would be so happy knowing if he knew that, like, I'm training to be a pop star now. Because me, when I first met him, that would have never even been in conversation. Like, never even think about it. Like, never thought, like, it was a process. So, like, that's something that, like, it would have never I never would have even thought about it, like, because I changed over time. Like, that's something, and, like, when I was little, or, like, when, no, what I'm saying is that when I knew him, I, for some reason, would not sing. I would not dance. I, like, wouldn't even do it in my room by myself. And there was never a fear or something like, I never really knew why. Because, well, I kind of did. It was that there was never a reasoning of why. And there never was, like, it was just kind of like something I wanted to do. And he changed that. He changed that, and that's good. So I feel like I know him, and I know that, like, now he would be really happy, like, knowing this. But, like, this is what I'm doing now. And I do it no problem now. Like, another, like, tip that I would say, I'm only going to do a few more. By the way, I love these earrings. I love all of my, like squad earrings. I have a lot. I have, like, as of right now, I have 5 pairs of squad earrings. The only thing is that I accidentally put the wrong back. So, like, well, my dad did. And now, here's the thing is, all of them have, like, the same back, but I have, like, a pair of dangly ones that have a gold back instead of a silver one, and you can't really see it, but I think it's either this side or this side. I forget. One of them has a gold back on right now, but it's not a big deal because you can't see it. But another tip that I would say is just have fun with it. Like, really enjoy every moment and have fun with it. Because that's something that, like, I feel like I kind of is one of those things that it's hard to do sometimes because there's so much and it kind of just goes by fast. Sometimes, like, there's moments that go by really fast. So I would say really enjoy it. There's an airplane. I'm going to give you like 3 or 4 more tips. Letting the airplane go. But the next tip that I would say is generally, like, don't skip out is what I'm going to say. Like, be in class. Like, put the work in. It may seem tiring, but it is so worth it. And I say this because I learned this the hard way. At the beginning, I skipped out a lot. I kind of would just randomly, like, not do class, and it became a problem. Because, and I literally would just be a little bit tired and, like, use that as an excuse. Don't skip out. It's not worth skipping out. Because every time you skip out, everyone else is getting an even better, one class better, and you skip down on it. So, like, it's one of those times when, like, if you want everyone to get better and you, like, not really learn from the class, then, like, that's your decision. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm just going to say that, like, don't skip out. Like, it's not doing you any bit of good, like, sitting around doing nothing. And then I'm going to give you 3 more tips. So the next tip is work for it. And what I mean by that is be the one in class that listens to the teacher and puts the work in. Don't be the one that does it and is put the work in. That's gonna make you look good because of the fact that you're working hard. You're putting the work in, and that is something that I will say Abby really likes. Is that that one of the things that she likes about me is that I may not be the best. I may struggle a lot of the time, but I put the work in. I put the work in, and so even when I'm not doing something that is my best, I'm really working for it. And so she sees that, literally. Also, I kind of came up with an idea for something that I'm really excited about. That I'm going to use next week in Acro. Which is that yesterday Abby had, some of the girls, using, these things that, you get, at, when you get off the Pirates of the Caribbean ride in, Disneyland or something, or Disney World, I forget. There's, these things that are, I don't even know. That, but she had the girls using them in class. Basically, the point of them, she had us using, anything that we could put our arms up, and we couldn't pull our arms away. They would have to be properly aligned. And the point of it was because some of the kids, or girls, because it was only girls doing the class yesterday, that I could see anyways. Whenever they do any form of trick that starts as a handstand, their arms should be right here, aligned, but instead they come way out here, and it's no, it messes you up sometimes. So I came up with an idea, which is I'm gonna basically tie, I have a multi-loop stretching band, and I'm gonna tie it a certain way so I can use it in Acro. And I don't have to get permission from Abby because one girl, I pulled, I think she was using, some sort of band thing, workout band. And she was using one, and she just pulled it out because she was demonstrating something. And then Abby said, I see, I didn't even have to tell her to use it. She just did. And got all happy that, she didn't have to tell her. She just did it. So, yeah, and Abby's encouraging us to use something like that. Then another tip I would say is, oh wait, this is one when you're at an audition or if you're doing any form of competition or audition, make it full out. Make the most out of what you can and make it full out. Don't lose the energy near the end. Keep it up the whole time. It makes you look really good. I'm going to say peace out for now.